Arsenal are ready to make a massive statement. That is the news coming out in the last 24 hours. There's two unbelievable players that are being linked to Arsenal that I want to talk about. But there's also a transfer mistake that I think Arsenal could be making. Before we get into it though, just very quickly, please just do me a favour. Hit like on this video. So, like I said, there's two players being heavily linked with Arsenal in the past 24 hours. Both of these players I would take in a heartbeat. Unbelievable players. The first one we're going to be talking about is Leroy Sané. We heard just before the transfer window opened, Arsenal being linked to this mystery German player. Could Leroy Sané be this mystery German player? You know, Arsenal and Leroy Sané have kind of been linked for a little while, and this could actually be the moment where Arsenal pull the trigger. Do I think it can happen? I don't know. I don't see why not. You know, Arsenal are definitely monitoring the situation. Leroy Sané is yet to sign a new deal at Bayern Munich. And if he doesn't, Arsenal is probably a club that he looks at and thinks, yeah, that's a decent club. I know he played for Man City, but I'm not sure if Man City would have him back. We see he's already left Pep, so why would he go back to him? And Arsenal could be the perfect destination. Most of these players, or a lot of these players around Europe, want to play in the Premier League, and there's no bigger team at the minute to play for than Arsenal or Man City. And if he's already played for City, maybe he's got his eye on Arsenal. Would Arteta want this player? Would you guys want this player? Would you sign Leroy Sané? Of course, I think the natural answer for most people would be yeah, because he's a brilliant player. But there's a couple of things you need to think about when trying to dissect if this transfer can actually happen. And the first one is, would Leroy Sané want to come to Arsenal to maybe be backup to Bukayo Saka? If Leroy Sané comes to Arsenal, does he play as a backup to Saka, or do we fit him in the squad somewhere else? Listen, I watch Leroy Sané probably not as much as some of you guys, so if you do watch him on a week in, week out basis, let me know. Is it just right wing he plays, or is this more of a versatile player? Does he play left wing? Can he play through the middle? Because, you know, like I said, when you see clips of a player, it never really does them justice. But I've been watching clips of Leroy Sané, as you do. I obviously watched him through the season last season as well, and it would appear to me that he's very dangerous when he's coming through the middle as well. I don't think he is an out-and-out striker, but I do think he could be an option there. But we know we've got options there. We've got Havertz, we've got Trossard, we've got Nketiah at the minute, we've got Jesus, so there are plenty of options. But in terms of a squad player, Leroy Sané would be perfect. But then again, like I said, would Leroy Sané come in to be a squad player? And again, how much is this player going to cost? But the question I want to ask is, would you take Leroy Sané? The second player caught me off guard a bit because, look, I think most people rate this player, but now seeing him linked with Arsenal made me really think, oh my, if Arsenal get this player, this could be a transformative signing. Julian Alvarez from Man City is now being linked with Arsenal. And I would put it to you guys, is this a player that you would want to see at Arsenal? Is this a player that you can see joining Arsenal from Man City? We know we've been to Man City and bought a couple of their good players in the past, and it worked out so good for Arsenal. So would Man City sell to a rival? Again, Arsenal are now title rivals to Man City. At the time when they sold to us before, we wasn't really seen as title rivals. We were seen as, you know, a young team on the come up. But I'm sure Pep Guardiola and the people behind the scene wouldn't have seen how good Arsenal would be over the next 2 seasons. So now do they have in the back of their mind, listen, we ain't going to sell to Arsenal. Why would we be the difference maker? I would be really excited in this Julian Alvarez deal, to be honest, because I do think he could be that main focal point in attack. I think he had quite a few opportunities last season for Man City, but I do think he would really thrive being that main guy. You know, he's obviously behind Erling Haaland in the pecking order. Like I said, he got plenty of minutes last season, but he's not the guy, is he? Erling Haaland is the guy for Man City. And if you're looking at Julian Alvarez, I'm seeing a player that is waiting to be the superstar of a team. Can he be that at Arsenal? I think he can certainly be that goal scorer for Arsenal. I think he can certainly be that guy leading the line for Arsenal. The price being thrown about is about 80 million. Would that put some of you guys off? Let me know in the comment section. 80 million for Julian Alvarez. Would you guys do this deal? I think this could be the perfect player. I mean, we've seen him last season, how good he is. You know, he scored a fair amount of goals, 19 goals, 13 assists. So this is a player that definitely can score a lot of goals. And I think probably all of them, well, not all of them goals would have been played in a centre-forward position as well. He probably was played out wide, right, out wide left in moments, because like I said, they've got Erling Haaland in the team already. So they're probably using Julian Alvarez as a player that just needs to fit in and play where he can get minutes, essentially. I'm sure he did start some games as centre-forward, but I think if he comes to a team like Arsenal, he probably will have to play those positions as well. But I think he would probably, if you're spending £80 million as a striker, being Arsenal, I'm sure they would play him mainly in that position. And I think he could do some real damage. Like I said, he's Premier League proven. He's got that hunger. He's still only 24 years old. And I just look at Julian Alvarez, and if we can't go and get some of the best players in the world, I think Julian Alvarez is that next level down with potential, with scope to actually go on and prove himself to be one of the better players in the world. I don't see why Julian Alvarez playing for Arsenal wouldn't get so many opportunities. We see opportunities that Arsenal craft. You know, we're not shy in creating opportunities. In the pre-season tour, maybe we struggled a bit against teams, but we saw last season Arsenal scored so many goals. So if you're scoring goals, you're creating so many opportunities. And a guy like Julian Alvarez, I can see as a guy that can finish off them opportunities. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. And if you did get the choice to pick between Julian Alvarez or Leroy Sané, who would you guys go for? Let me know in the comment section. So the last thing I wanted to speak about is the reason why I think Arsenal could be making a mistake. We've seen the news with Eddie Nketiah leaving to Marseille, and it's kind of seemed to have hit a bit of a stumbling block. Arsenal not willing to accept less money. You know, they're saying, no, 35 million euros is the fee that we're going to demand, and if you don't want to pay it, then we're not going to sell the player. Do you think that's the right attitude to have? I can definitely understand it. Arsenal have been notoriously bad at selling players in the past, so if they say, and they put it out there, we want 35 million for this player, and they accept way less, then they're not going to be seen as any different in the transfer market now to how they were seen a few seasons ago. You know, people used to take advantage of Arsenal really and truly a few seasons ago because they seemed to sell players on the cheap. They didn't really command good big fees for some of their good players, and Eddie Nketiah should be commanding a good fee. I've seen the reaction out there. So many people saying, just sell Eddie Nketiah for 27 million. I'm caught in the middle. I still think 27 million is a decent enough fee for Eddie Nketiah. I do think when he goes and moves on to another team, he will score a lot of goals because I do think that's the kind of player Eddie Nketiah is. I don't think he's quite at the level of an Arsenal, but I think if he drops to that next level down, I definitely see him as a player that will score so many goals next season. But Arsenal saying, because Marseille have offered 27 million, Arsenal saying, no, we want 35 million and a release clause. Do you think that's fair? Like I said, just let me know, would you sell Eddie for 27 million? Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Like I said, let me know, Leroy Sané, what's your thoughts? Julian Alvarez, what's your thoughts? And Eddie Nketiah, what are your thoughts? Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could, like I said, just do me a favour, hit like on this video, just like it and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.